Recently, I was like, you know what, Napa, you've done well. Coming from, I wasn't born here, I was born in Congo. Come here, not speaking the language, learning the language, writing 3 books, getting Amazon best-selling author. Um, not coming from a wealthy background, no one in my family that I know owns a portfolio of property, let alone one property. Now I own multiple. So to me, and then people around me, now they're catching that buzz. They want to start doing it. They want to start owning their own asset. They start thinking about, cementing the future of the next generation.
Amos Madra.
Napa Bafikele, a very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Wow, I can't wait to get into this. Just reading about your journey. There's so much that I think we can get from this today. You are someone who has grafted to get to where you are and to achieve the things that you've achieved. And you're doing that. You're making great moves. You're self-made. You're very innovative, forward-thinking property investor with over 3 years' experience in the rent-to-rent business, which is not easy, might I add. So there's so much that we want to learn from you. So, firstly, a warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Amos, man. Really appreciate it.
Fantastic. So, let's start from this rent-to-rent business. I mean, how did you get into it and properties in general?
So with my background, I was, even like growing up, I always say like I've been that kid where I never fitted in. I always wanted stuff that was different, and I never conformed to the norm. I always trying to see what's the way out, how can we do things different? How can we make things better? So with that in mind, growing up, and also not coming from a wealthy background, I was quite, open to the idea of how I can make money myself. So once I start, even at school, I'll sell sweets, I'll look after people because I was quite well connected with everyone at school. So all these kids that would get bullied, I'll look after them, then they'll pay me. I was kind of a personal security guard in a way. So, I was doing stuff like that, everything that I could. I decided to make money during school, and then that went on to college, to university. Um, but when I started, I was like, I need to find a way I can formalize this. I need to find a way where I can make this more, not everything what I was doing was legit, but I wanted to be more, strategized where I can grow it and then, make a living out of it. And when I start looking at other businesses, I look into, maybe like a recruitment agency. I looked into clothing line. I even looked into modeling, becoming a rapper, actor. Like I was trying to find every single way along, what I can do to make a success. But once I started reading more autobiography of successful people, they always had one thing in common. It was always property. It was always property. It was always property. Then I'm like, okay, what is about property that is so intriguing where everyone is always invested in, where they could have a million business or a multi-billion business, but they have a portion of the wealth in real estate. So I started to, that kind of piqued my attention. And then I'm a Christian by faith anyway. So I don't, there's Dr. Mars Monroe, I used to, listen to,
Oh yeah, what a legend. Yeah.
oh, he's like,
Yeah.
God, but and then he was talking about how, God will gift people land. He will say, oh, Abraham, go to this land. Moses, go to this land. He's always go to a piece of land in order for you to cultivate, to grow. So on the hindsight, it was like there's something special about real estate. So since I heard that, that just kind of piqued my attention, and I started looking into, okay, rather than me looking into other businesses, why can't I just go directly into property investment? So I started researching about property investment. I came across like free webinars, seminars I attended, but the obstacle was I did not have the money to invest into property. But I was still tenacious. I was still out there going to view properties, see, just put my name out there. And then I came across this lady was like, oh, maybe you should look into the rent-to-rent model or sourcing since you don't have a lot of money to start. So that's why I started paying more attention into the, rent to rent. And then yeah, that's how my attention was diverse into that strategy.
What a remarkable story. And, rent to rent is huge. Like you said, the upfront cost is not as much as, say, when you're buying a property. But then, of course, the returns on that is immense. So, talk to us about the business model, how it works.
So essentially, in a brief outlay, renting is pretty much where you rent a property of a landlord and then you rent it back out. You can do it on a room by room basis, or you can do it on a night by night basis, which is like more service accommodation. But my model was the one I focused the most was more onto the room by room basis. So in a way, if I can just simplify, is a legal way of subletting. Because if you sublet without having the correct paperwork, that's illegal. That can get you in trouble. But if you do have the correct paperwork and you do follow all the compliance, all the rules and regulation, is perfectly fine. So where you can rent a property off a landlord, let's say for example, you rent a 5 bed for £1,000, just basic figures to make it easy for the audience. You rent a room for a property for £1,000, a 5 bed, and then you rent every single room out for £500. So you got 2,500 coming in as your gross income. You minus the £1,000 to your landlord. Now you got 1,500 left, and you got to pay the bills like gas, electricity, council tax, water, internet, and then maybe cleaners. Let's say that comes up to £500, then you got a net profit of £1,000. Does that make sense? And then the entry cost could be as cheap as 5 grand, 2 grand, even next to nothing. Just depends on how great you are at negotiating or finding the great deal.
That sounds absolutely fascinating. And you've simplified it, but you and I know that it's not that simple. You've got to graft, you've got to work hard at this, because firstly, it's finding the properties, it's dealing with landlords, negotiating, even before you've started to source, clients, tenants to come and use the property. And then it's the management after as well. And then, there's so much that goes into it.
Mhm.
For somebody listening to this, you know, from the outset, there is a lot of work involved, isn't there?
100%, 100%. The frustrating part is maybe is the way that property industry kind of perceives certain strategy where you can just come in and start making money. It's just like running any other businesses. You're gonna come across challenges along the way, but you gotta find the property, and finding the property is not the easiest part. You gotta find the right property above all. You've got to convince the landlord. You got to change the narrative because they're thinking you're subletting, or if you're gonna have multiple people in my house, that increase the wear and tear. That, what if someone doesn't pay you money? It raises a lot of questions, but you got, convince them, hey, listen, this is the right stretch that we're doing here. So you also got to manage these people once you get the property. You got tenants, because if you fail to, tenants their property, now you got a huge liability in your hand because you still got to pay the landlord rent because your contract's between you and the landlord, nothing to do with your tenants. So the byproduct of you tenanting the house is you making money. But if you're failing to do that, or i.e., you got the wrong location, or for some strange reason you're failing to do so, now you got a huge liability. And then you tenant this property. Now you got to manage these people because now you got five, or depends how big your HMO is. You got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, even 20 different people living in one space. You got different characters, different background, different beliefs, and then you got manager. And then also these people coming in on a HMO, they have a totally different mindset than someone renting a single let property. If the light bulb goes out on a single let property, you're going to fix it yourself. But if a light bulb goes out on the HMO, they're expecting the landlord to do it. Does that make sense? So the expectation is totally different. You got to manage that. Like it's not, it's very challenging. At the same time, it also rewarding if you do it correctly. And if it was very easy, as everyone says, everyone will be doing it.
Absolutely. You mentioned HMO there, just to let the audience know, that's homes of multiple occupancy, which is perfectly legal. It's things that landlords do. And as you said, it is very lucrative if you do it in the right way. So definitely there is, that reward for the hard work that you put in. But ultimately, I think what you do is really it's about managing relationships, isn't it? Managing how your relationship is with the landlords and with the tenants. Talk to us about, the value for any business in building relationships and working on those partnerships.
Exactly. So essentially, with this model here, you're like the middleman, you're like the property manager because you're managing the agents, you're managing the landlord, you're managing the tenants, you're managing the local authority. So then everything goes back within you. What is your business models? What is your business value? Does that make sense? For example, like me, valuing relationship, I think being very transparent is important. Everybody needs to know what's going on at every single department of your business. And then also having that good leadership spirit or leadership skill, because you're also leading every single part of your business to grow it, is also important. But as essentially I always say, property is a people business. You have to get along with people. People gotta like you in order for them to do business with you. It's not like any other business where it's very, facts and figures. Here is more about, okay, can I trust you? Can I believe you? Do I have faith on what you're doing? Can you also back up exactly what you're saying? So, managing relationship and cultivating relationship is also important in this business here.
Yeah, and I think, again, you've hit the nail on the head there, managing, cultivating relationships. And that is it for any business to succeed. People need
Mhm.
to like you, people need to trust you, people need to be able to know that you're going to do exactly what they're paying you to do. For people who are trying to get into any business, let's talk about those skills, let's talk about those values. You spoke about your Christian faith and, great preachers like Miles Monroe, who preach all the time about relationships, and of course it starts with your relationship with God. And talk to us about that, and again, how we've got to be honest with ourselves, and we can't just try and blag people, because they'll see through you.
Exactly, exactly. Like I've came across where situation where I invested in people's businesses. The moment I invest in the business and what they promised me, it didn't manifest. So that also affected the relationship. But on the hindsight, you're gonna come across obstacles. It's gonna happen. It's bound to happen. But it's how you manage that, it's how you communicate that across. So having a good communication skill with people that you're dealing with, as I said before, being transparent, being honest, building rapport, keeping everybody on track on what you're doing, is also crucial on on growing your business and also building better relationships.
Yeah. And talk to us about the future, because I feel like you're someone who has, your finger on the pulse, you know exactly what's happening in the industry. I know even just general in different businesses, and I can imagine you're eyeing up a few different ventures in the future. So talk to us, what can we expect?
So right now I'm heavily involved in building my rental portfolio, and I'm doing that by using this model called buy, refurb, refinance. So where you kind of force the appreciation of the property. So ideally, in the UK here, property doubles in value or grow in value within 7 to 10 years. So I'm kind of fast forwarding that process. So where I will buy a property that needs refurbishment, let's say for example, the property is worth 100K, but just for the face fact that it's not on that 100K condition, it might be worth maybe let's say 50K. And then in order to take it to the 100K mark, I might have to spend 25K, i.e., doing the bathroom, kitchen, new flooring, painting for making it that super standard. And then by pushing the value, then I'll end up refinancing and taking that 75% of the end value. So that's a very high effective, model to do if you want to grow your rental portfolio very quick. I would say within 2 years, I managed within 2 to 3, yeah, 2 to 3 years, I managed to build a rental portfolio of that's worth 1 million. Does that make sense? So coming from rent to rent where I was unemployed, I was homeless, using the rent to rent model to, kind of give me that lifeline of income coming in and also transition where I'm actually buying properties myself and then building that, that rental portfolio. And, now I'm actually building wealth because I own these assets. So for me, it's important to have a vision, to know exactly where you're going. Many people comes in with the rent rent, yeah, because it sounds great, the money sounds great, the profit sounds great, but what's your exit plan? What's your future planning of your business? So to me, people that want to come in and get into the rent to rent, you always go out have to me, it's not a long-term strategy where someone should stay in within you know God knows how many years. It should be used as a hybrid, but you come in, get some money free you up and start building your assets. Or you already got your assets, you want to just get additional income without expending a lot of money and you can retract and then do your rent to rent. You can kind of use as a hybrid strategy.
That's such an amazing and inspirational story there. What how do you feel? Do you think back and just like reflect from homeless to properties worth over 1 million? What does that, do to you? How do you feel?
Only recently, I start thinking about it because to me it's pretty much more like go, 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 and then I might take some time out, then I'll just come back, go, go, go. So I haven't really sat and say, you know what, you've done this. But recently I was like, you know what, Napa, you've done well. Coming from, I wasn't born here, I was born in Congo. Come here, not speaking the language, learning the language, writing 3 books, getting Amazon best-selling author, um, not coming from a wealthy background. No one in my family that I know owns a portfolio of property, let alone one property. Now I own multiple. So to me, and then people around me, now they're catching that buzz. They want to start doing it. They want to start owning their own asset. They start thinking about, cementing the future of the next generation. And then also me helping other people, within my consultation business to do the exact same. So in hindsight, you know what? I've done well, but I don't want to get content. I just want to, keep on pushing until to me, people will say, yeah, once I get to this level, I'll exit. Once I get to this level, I'll chill. It's like, this is just a part of me. I just love what I do. Let's just do it until I clock out or something changes along the way.
You're so inspirational. Again, just hearing just you say that again, it's just like, the relentlessness, the focus and the drive just to achieve. And, it's that focused intention, and I think that's the one thing that's helped you to stand out, isn't it? It's that absolute complete focus. I think sometimes when your back is against the wall, you've got no choice but to focus.
Mhm.
Talk to us about some of those dark days where you felt maybe that this wasn't going to happen, to where those opportunities just came through.
Yeah, so if I take you for example at my dog days, man, it's crazy. So when I got kicked out of my house, my dad kicked me out of my house, the family home. And then when he kicked me out, obviously I'm trying to get people involved, like, his friends, my brother, because I'm, the middle child, to kind of, diffuse the situation. It never helped out. But then my brother called me saying, hey man, Napa, I'm not happy with what dad said. I said, hey man, what did dad say? He said that you'll never be successful in life. Whatever you try to do, you will amount to nothing. He puked you out, you're no longer his kid. Remove the surname, so you're no longer Bafikele. Remove his DNA. Um, so when I heard that, also having being African, when you're cursed by an elder or your father, it's a serious matter. And then also me thinking, hey man, I don't want to work so hard and end up. The only thing that resonated with me was Cain with Abel when he got cursed out by God. This guy done everything, amounted to nothing, and I didn't want to be in that position. Then that's when I start contemplating suicide. You know what? I'm not gonna be here, work hard, and then not be anything. And then what really cemented that belief? Imagine I was told this on a Saturday or Friday, I believe. On Tuesday, I lost my job. You know, so I'm like, raw. How can the transition just happen so quick? But to me, those was like the darkest day. People that you thought or they cared for you the most. And then when you're telling your friends, "Oh, this what happened to me," it was a joke because no one could believe it. But I was actually going through it. So for me to sleep in my car, to sofa surf, it was one of the darkest moments in my life. But what I did, I just went to my pastor. I said, hey, "This is the situation," and then what he said to me was more convincing and compelling. He goes, hey, Napa, listen, if your dad is God, what he will say will come to pass. If your dad is not God, go and do about your business. So to me, that was like another fresh air, another energy was, was in to me. Then I just went in and I went hard on this property game. bearing in mind I had nowhere to stay. Amos, I went to my bank account, right? I was so hungry. I remember this vividly. I was in Angel. It was sunny. I went into Sainsbury's. So I got I think I got a meal deal. I went in, my card got declined. Then I went outside because them days there wasn't really like online banking. Check on the ATM outside. I got 89p to my name. I was like literally, so that was like rock bottom. And then to have the faith to call the person that taught me rent and say, hey, listen, I'm in this situation here. I'm gonna pay you £3,000 as you requested for your mentorship, but I'm gonna do it through my credit card. I have no idea how I'm gonna pay my next payment, but let's do it. But I took a leap of faith, paid it, and then now my next obstacle is okay. Even I've got this knowledge here. How am I going to fund these deals? Then I start putting myself out on social media. Sharing my journey. Then I came across someone say, "Hey, Napa, I'll be your business partner." Within a week, we got a first deal. He goes, "Hey, Napa, move in." I was, "If I'm moving, there's no profit." He goes, "No, it don't matter. Just move in." Moved into my first deal. 2 weeks after that, another deal, another deal. That's how we grew. And then I got to a position where I was moving by myself, and then I hired people, start living the life, and then now I'm just buying my assets, preaching the good news.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I think sometimes you think that these stories are not real, but then here you are in the flesh, you've been there.
Exactly.
you know, you know exactly what it feels like. And how's your relationship now with your family?
I'm cool with I would say with my dad. I don't know if there's a relationship. We just coexist. I would say that's the best way of saying it. But with my other siblings, mom, sister, brother, we're cool.
I'm sure he looks and he thinks, in his heart, maybe what you said was a bit too harsh. But sometimes when you had he not said that, had you not gone through that, maybe the Napa that we see here wouldn't be the same person.
Yeah, I always compare it, to a woman giving birth. The process is so painful, but once that baby is delivered, the joy is above and beyond. So for you to achieve greatness, you have to go through the trenches. You have to and then also what kept me going as well, because I've been prophesied a lot, you'll be a pioneer. I remember one time we went to a church retreat, and then this lady was just prophesying. She was like, "Oh, Napa, I see you in the forest. You're just cutting with machetes. You're creating a trail, and it was like ton of people behind you. You're not like a business looking person, but the way you move, it was just like deep. And then it is frequent. It's not like I hear it. It's like I'll go to a different church, then they will say like similar thing. Oh, I see you with money. I see you with this. You'll be with higher people. Da da da. Like for me, hearing it constantly, it just gives me that boost. And then when I see the level or the amount of people that I helped, it's up, and then seeing what the people that I helped, what they're doing, it's like it's above and beyond. So it just helped me to stay focused and just do what I gotta do. And then, when it's my time, at least I delivered what I meant to deliver or unlocked the potentials where what I meant to do.
And that you've done indeed. And I'm sure there's still much more to come. It's again amazing just to hear your journey and just to think of, where things were in the past and to where you are now. And I know that there's still more to come. There's still more greatness to come. And just really thankful for you to stop by here and just share that journey with us. Thank you.
Nah, thank you for having me, Amos, man. I appreciate that.
And how can the audience connect with you? Because there's going to be so many people who want to connect and reach out to you. So we know that you're active with your courses. You see your social media as well. You're pretty much blowing up there. So how can the audience connect?
Yeah, they can just reach me out on my social media, Instagram, Napa Bafikele. I think I'm very active on my Instagram. So anyone that wants to reach out, they want any guidance and what I can do to help, reach out to me on my Instagram at Napa Bafikele. If you want to buy my books on Amazon, just type my name, Napa Bafikele, my free books will come out. I'm currently working on my fourth book. That's what I'm going away on Sunday. That's what I'm going away on Sunday. So I can just, get it out of the way. When I come back, is dead and gone, and moving to other things.
Napa, it's just again so refreshing, so good to hear your story. When I started this show, this podcast, it was about bringing people on who have been through some of the trenches, but have come through it and with their head held high. And they've on this show we always say it's about trailblazing the way. It's about people who have made an impact and are showing us how things can be done, and it can be done, and anyone listening can do it.
Mhm.
You have demonstrated that, and you have shown us that it is possible. And it's been just such an honor to hear your story and to think, from where you were to where you are now is a complete contrast. You never gave up on yourself. That self belief to know that regardless of where I am, something good will come out of this, and not to have any grievances to anyone, and not to wish ill on anyone, but just to focus on you, on how you can be better and seek guidance and advice and just go out and do amazing things. And you've
Yeah.
demonstrated that. And, I just want to celebrate you and thank you for, sharing your journey and for the person that you are. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Amos.
If you want some amazing inspiration, check out the videos next to me, and I'll see you right there.